I feel like putting my J.League predictions into video form is going to come back to haunt me at the end of the season. But anyway, these are my predictions for the season in J1, J2 and J3. I'll be predicting the top 4 for J3, the top 6 and bottom 2 for J2, and then the top 4 and bottom 3 for J1. Let's start in J3. First, a quick overview of the league. The 2022 season will feature 18 teams, with the top 2 going up automatically, so long as they have a J2 license. There are no playoffs and no relegation. J3 doesn't get started until March 12th, 3 weeks after J1 and J2. So let's begin by looking at the new teams in J3 for 2022. First of all, promoted from the Japan Football League are Iwaki FC from Fukushima Prefecture. This is a club that have long been on the road to the J-League. They were founded in 2012 and with backing from Under Armour, they quickly progressed through the leagues. In 2020 they entered the Japan Football League and after only 2 years at that level are now in J3. With decent financial backing and excellent facilities, I fully expect them to hit the ground running in J3. Coming down into J3 from J2 are SC Sagamihara, Ehime FC, Giravans Kitakyushu, and Matsumoto Yamaga. The latter of those, Matsumoto Yamaga, were playing in J1 as recently as 2019. They've become only the second former top flight team to end up in the 3rd tier. It's been a staggering fall from grace, and a real shame that such a well-supported team has fallen so far so fast. The only other team to fall from J1 to J3 was Oita Trinita, and they spent just 1 season in the 3rd tier, winning the title and bouncing back straight to J2. Matsumoto need to do something similar, or risk stagnating in a very competitive division. Another notable team dropping into J3 are Ehime FC, who spent 16 consecutive seasons in J2. This season, they'll have a local derby against prefecture rivals Imabari FC. So, predictions for J3. Here are my picks for the top 4. AC Nagano Parcero. Parcero slipped from 3rd in 2020 down to 9th in 2021, but there are positive signs for 2022. Former YSCC manager Yuki Stalf takes the hot seat at Nagano U Stadium this season after some great work at his former club. YSCC are one of the smallest clubs in J3, but last season Stalf took them to 8th, their highest ever league finish, while playing exciting attacking football. He's a great long-term appointment for Nagano, and even if they don't go up this season, I expect them to be in the race. Iwaki FC. Teams coming up from the JFL usually do pretty well in J3, and as mentioned earlier, Iwaki FC are one of the strongest teams to come up from non-league in recent years. Momentum should carry them into the 2022 season, but I think they'll fall just short this season as they find their feet in the J-League. FC Gifu. This is FC Gifu's 3rd season in J3 since relegation from J2, and in both seasons in the 3rd tier so far, they finished 6th. But this year, I believe they've done enough in the transfer market to get back to J2. The headline signing is Tomoya Ugajin from Urawa Reds, who will link up with former Reds teammate Yosuke Kashiwagi in midfield. The big worry is the loss of last season's top scorer Shota Kawanishi, but I still think they'll have enough about them this year to secure promotion. Katare Toyama. And FC Gifu's loss is Katare Toyama's gain. Snapping up Kawanishi on a free transfer was an excellent piece of business. The signing of Arthur Silva on loan from FC Tokyo is also a decent move that should shore up their midfield. Toyama have been knocking on the door of J3 promotion for years now, so I'm gonna say this is the year that they'll go up. J2 features 22 teams, with the top 2 going up automatically. Teams finishing 3rd to 6th qualify for the playoffs. The bottom 2 go down automatically. Joining J2 this season are last year's J3 champions Roasso Kumamoto, as well as Iwate Garuja Morioka, who achieved a somewhat unexpected promotion. Boasso spent 11 consecutive seasons in J2 from 2008 to 2018, so have plenty of experience at this level. Iwate are playing in the second tier for the first time in their history. They joined J3 in 2014 and never finished higher than 12th until last year when they secured a second place finish on goal difference from Tegabajaro Miyazaki. Relegated down to J2 from the top flight are Tokushima Vortis, Oita Trinita, Vegalta Sendai and Yokohama FC. The biggest of those names is arguably Vegalta Sendai, who were J1 regulars from 2010 until last season, and back in 2012 they finished second in the top flight. Here are my predictions for the bottom 2 and top 6 in J2. Iwate Guruja Morioka. It was an incredible achievement by Iwate Guruja Morioka to win promotion to J2, and I'd love to see them stay up, but I think it'll be really tough for them this season. They haven't strengthened that much, and as mentioned earlier, they only won promotion last season by goal difference over Tegabajaro Miyazaki. Renofa Yamaguchi. I think J2 is the hardest league to predict, and it was really tough to decide which team to put in this position, but I'm edging towards Renofa Yamaguchi being the second team to face the drop this season. They've really struggled over the last few years, finishing 15th in 2019, bottom in 2020, saved only because there was no relegation that season, and 15th again last year. Unfortunately, I think they'll drop down this season. Oita Trinita. Despite getting relegated from J1 last year, Oita did rally towards the end of the season and reached the Emperor's Cup final, where they narrowly lost to Urawa Reds. But long-time head coach Tomohiro Katanosaka has left the club to join Gamba Osaka. Katanosaka took Oita all the way from J3 up to J1 and into the Emperor's Cup final, so he'll be a big loss. However, new manager Takahiro Shimotaira does have a J2 promotion on his CV with Yokohama FC, so seems a decent replacement. Tokushima Vortis. Last season, Tokushima were hampered by head coach Dani Poyatos not being able to enter the country in time for the start of the season due to the COVID entry restrictions in Japan. But with a full winter to prepare the club for J2, I think he'll have them performing well in the second tier. Monterio Yamagata. Monterio looked quality last season under the stewardship of Peter Klimowski, who was formerly Ange Postecoglou's assistant at Yokohama F. Marinos. He sets his team up to play in a similar style to Postecoglou, and I fully expect Yamagata to push on again this season. But the departure of Vincius Araujo and his goal haul will be a big loss. FC Machida Zelvia. Zelvia have made some fantastic signings over the winter, the headline one being the previously mentioned Vincius Araujo from Monterio Yamagata. They'll also benefit from the continuity of having Ranko Popovic in charge for a third season. Last year they finished 5th, which was a huge improvement from the previous season's finish of 19th, and with an even stronger looking squad this season, they should be right up there again. Jeff United. I feel like 2022 is a make or break season for Jeff United. They finished 2021 in excellent form and eventually ended up 8th. This is now the third season in charge for head coach Yun-Jon Fan, and last year was a significant improvement on his first season. He did an excellent job as Cerezo Osaka boss in 2017 and 2018, winning both the Levan Cup and Emperor's Cup, and guiding the club to a third place finish in J1. And I think if Jeff aren't up there challenging for promotion this season, then he'll be gone by the end of the year. But I do believe Jeff will be up there. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in 2022, Jeff United will secure their return to J1 after a 13-year absence. Vifaren Nagasaki. Vifaren were in the race for a top 2 finish last season, but ultimately fell short. However, I think they're very well placed to go up automatically this season. The signing of Cristiano from Casio Reysol is a brilliant piece of business, and he should be on another level in J2. I can't look past Vivaren for the championship at this stage. J1 has 18 teams in 2022. The top 3 will qualify for the Asian Champions League, while the bottom 2 will go down automatically. The team finishing 16th will host the winner of the J2 playoffs in the promotion relegation playoff. Entering J1 this season are J2 champions Jubilo Iwata and runners-up Kyoto Sanga. Jubilo Iwata are a former powerhouse of Japanese football with 3 J1 titles to their name. Kyoto Sanga have been absent from the top flight since 2010. On paper, Jubilo don't look much stronger than last season, which is a concern. Their squad is quite old, demonstrated by the fact that Yasuhito Endo, at the age of 42, is still expected to be in and around the first team. They've also lost Lukian to J1 rivals Avispa Fukuoka. He scored 22 goals for Jubilo in J2 last year, and they'll be hoping that new signings Kenyu Sugimoto from Urawa Reds and Ryo Jermaine from Yokohama FC can replace those goals. Jubilo will also have a new head coach this season, with the highly rated Akira Ito joining from J2 side Ventforet Kofu, where he did an excellent job with limited resources. Kyoto Sanga's head coach, Cho Kui-jae, has top-flight experience with Shonan Bellmare, where he won the League Cup in 2018. Similar to Jubilo, Sanga haven't strengthened significantly over the winter, and there'll be doubts about the ability of Peter Yutaka to keep scoring goals at the age of 38. He was the club's top scorer last year in J2. I think Sanga's best chance of survival comes from the experience of Cho Kui-jae, who was in a very similar position with Shonan. Also, if Sanga can be as defensively strong as they were last season, when they conceded only 31 goals in 42 games, then they should be able to steer clear of relegation danger. So here are my top 4 and bottom 3 for J1. Shonan Bellmare. Shonan had an excellent defence in 2021, but still only just avoided relegation by 1 point. They also won only 7 games and were very limited in front of goal. They've been hanging on in J1 for a number of years now, and sadly, I think 2022 will be the year that they slip down into the relegation zone. Kashiwa Reysol. When Kashiwa returned to J1 in 2020 as J2 champions, they were an exciting, attacking team. They won their final J2 game of the 2019 season 13-1 against Kyoto Sanga. But the man who scored 8 goals in that game, and who also took J1 by storm in 2020, Michael Alunga, left Reysol in 2021 and wasn't really replaced. Reysol also lost attacking midfielder Ataru Isaka to Urawa Reds last season and have let Cristiano leave on a free transfer to Vifara Nagasaki. None of these players seem to have been adequately replaced. It's a real shame, because Kashiwa were a brilliant team to watch in 2019 and 2020, but last year they slumped to 15th from 7th the previous season, and on paper they look even weaker this year. Shimizu S-Pulse. It's really sad to see such an iconic team as Shimizu S-Pulse struggling so much. They haven't finished in the top 10 since 2018, when they were 8th, and the mixed philosophies of recent managerial appointments has left S-Pulse in a muddle. Peter Klomovsky's high-intensity attacking football was abandoned after a shaky 2020 season, to be replaced by the defence-oriented approach of Miguel Angel Lotina, who was relieved of his duties last season with the club battling relegation. Hiroaki Hiraoka stepped up as caretaker manager and kept S-Pulse up last season, but I think it will be another tough year in 2022. Kashima Antlers. If in doubt, put Kashima Antlers in the top 4. They haven't finished lower than 5th since 2012 and were 4th last season. This year they have Rene Weiler in charge, who has significant experience managing in his native Switzerland as well as Germany and Belgium. And with some great forward options, including Ayase Ueda, Kashima should be up challenging for an Asian Champions League place again, although probably not the title. Vissel Kobe. Every season, Vissel Kobe seem to bolster their squad, and this year is no exception. The arrival of Tomoaki Makino from Urawa Reds is a smart move, bringing more experience to the defence. And with Yoshinori Muto starting his first full season with Kobe after arriving last summer from Newcastle United, they look strong up front too. Qualifying for the Asian Champions League is surely a must this year. Urawa Reds. I almost put Reds as my prediction to win the league, but I think it's maybe a season too early. But they did look very impressive as they dispatched Kawasaki Frontale in the Super Cup. Kasper Janka looked a constant threat up front for Reds last season, and he can only be better now that he's more settled in the J-League. Ataru Saka always looks dangerous too in the attacking midfield role, and in defence they have the experience and quality of Hiroki Sakai, plus the addition this season of Tomoya Inukai from Kashima Antlers. And the arrival of Swedish winger David Moberg Karlsson from Sparta Prague looks like a very exciting signing. This is Ricardo Rodriguez's second season in charge of Reds. Last season he guided them to 6th in the league and Emperor's Cup glory. There's no reason why 2022 can't be even better. Kawasaki Frontale. I wasn't quite brave enough to predict anything other than Kawasaki Frontale winning their third title in a row. They head into 2022 as the dominant force in Japanese football, having won 4 titles in the last 5 years. Last season they lost Ao Tanaka to Fortuna Düsseldorf and Kaoru Mitoma to Brighton, now on loan at Union SG in Belgium. They've also lost Reo Hatate to Celtic over the winter. But, as last season proved, even when they lose talent, they have the ability to regroup and bring new quality players into the first team. The headline addition for 2022 is Thai star Chanatip from Consadole Sapporo, who should thrive in such an attacking team. But I don't think Frontale will run away with the league quite as comfortably as they have over the last few years. So now it's your turn. In the comments, tell me your predictions for the 2022 season. I'm really interested to hear what everyone thinks will happen this year. And as always, thank you for watching.